Welcome to the Press Box. I'm Ryan Thorburn, joined by Steve Mims. We're getting ready for Oregon's road trip to UCLA. Steve, Braxton, Burmeister, Part 3. The first two episodes have been pretty nightmarish, but UCLA's defense has struggled this year, and I think Oregon's confident they can run the ball and help Braxton out a little bit, maybe even get some passes completed downfield.
Yeah, one thing we may have overlooked in his first two games, that it is the better defense. Now, Washington State has been better than the past, and Stanford's been traditional Stanford. So, you go from that to suddenly UCLA, you're going to feel like the kid who got a couple starts on the varsity and didn't do well, and you got sent down to JV, and suddenly you're playing against a little easier defense. So we'll see. I mean, this will be the test. If they can't throw for more than 40 yards, they can't complete more than 5-8 passes against UCLA, I think you find yourself in a situation where you got to completely try to revamp what you're doing and try to change some personnel around.
It's really kind of a cool story for Braxton. I think it's one he maybe dreamed about in 2019 or 2020, but he's a San Diego area guy, mentored by Akili Smith. Now he gets to start for Oregon at the Rose Bowl against UCLA. A couple weeks ago he thought he was going to be redshirting, and now he gets this opportunity, but I think he's got a fighting chance to help the Ducks get a win here.
Yeah, and you see Willie Taggart certainly pumping him up, and we've seen him and all the coaches have said, hey, look, game to game you should get better. Now that kind of explanation looks a little weird after last week when he didn't, but this is a guy who was heavily recruited. I think it's pretty clear as you look at him now, it was a developmental guy, a guy they wanted to kind of sit out for a year, but you'd think now with 2-3 weeks of practice as the number one guy and some guys getting used to him, you can at least come up with some plays, some quick things to Charles Nelson like we never saw last week. Tried to throw something deep to Dylan Mitchell that we never saw last week. Just try to include some things that maybe they haven't done in the past just to try to get him comfortable and hopefully he doesn't turn them over twice early on and get spooked as they said happened last week.
Another story that's on the brighter side for the Ducks is Royce Freeman needs 140 yards rushing to break LaMichael James' record and become Oregon's all-time leading rusher. I think that's obtainable this week, and I think they need him to do that to win.
Yeah, and we saw he almost got 140 in the first quarter last week. I think he was up to 95 and then slowed down a little bit after that. But we saw kind of the old Royce. He was running some guys over again. He had some breakaway speed, not breakaway to the end zone, but breakaway through the secondary and get past the 50. So, yeah, I think there's certainly the possibility for some longer runs out of him. Doesn't look like Tony Brooks-James will be there, probably out with concussion. That might result. I think we saw 18 carries from Freeman last week. Maybe, if he gets it going against UCLA, he's back up to a more kind of some of the bigger workloads we've seen, 25, 28 type carries.
Oregon had to deal with Bryce Love, a Heisman Trophy candidate, last week. The week before that, Luke Falk, as we all know, he's done great things against Oregon over the years. Now it's Josh Rosen for this defense. And going into that Stanford game, Oregon actually led the nation in sacks with 24. They didn't get any last week. They're going to have to get some this week and maybe an interception or two, something they haven't done in Pac-12 play.
Yeah, I think they're 8th right now in the Pac-12 in pass defense, after the last couple of weeks. So it's teetered down, and Rosen, he's putting up great numbers. They're not winning a ton. They're 1-2 in conference, but he's leading them. I think he's second in the country in total passing yards. So we know he's going to come out and throw. And we saw last week Oregon went pretty young with their secondary. We didn't see as much as Springs and Amadi. We saw a bit more Lenore and Thomas Graham Jr. So it'll be interesting to see if Oregon feels comfortable putting those freshmen out there as much against a team that's going to throw the ball a lot like Rosen, as opposed to a Stanford team that you knew was going to run the ball more.
Yeah, we focus on the quarterback so much. Burmeister is a true freshman. Justin Herbert is a true sophomore. But last week they had 6 true freshmen at the same time playing on defense. Jim Leavitt, you have to like the future of this unit, and maybe can summon up a winner to help them get a win or two down the stretch. But definitely things are trending in a good direction on defense finally.
Yeah, and your best defender's a true sophomore in Dye, so you got him for at least another year. You mentioned the veterans are kind of at cornerback, and those are spots where we're seeing some new guys rotating in. So it feels like they're using some of the guys that have been there, but at the same time they're trying to at least kind of warm in some of the newer guys to some of those positions and positional battles.
Well, we have a 1 p.m. kick, so we will definitely talk to you after the game because it'll still be Saturday instead of Sunday. Look forward to that. Thanks for tuning in.